Turning to a story that is making headlines around the world, an unprecedented, albeit controversial, new discovery is shedding light on a mystery that dates back millennia, many millennia.
For over 4,500 years, the enigmatic Anunnaki have loomed large in the myths, legends, and ancient texts of Mesopotamia. These mysterious beings are said to have descended from the heavens to shape the destiny of humanity. Some of the most interesting things about ancient history, particularly what came out of ancient Sumer. Interestingly, the Sumerians left behind intricate records describing the Anunnaki not as abstract gods, but as flesh and blood beings who wielded advanced technology, ruled over Earth's earliest cities, and even altered the genetic fabric of humanity itself. Now, after 4,500 years, scientists have finally uncovered the truth about the Anunnaki. Today, we'll unveil the whole truth, the paradox of Sumerian contributions. Emerging from the alluvial plains of Mesopotamia around 4,500 BCE, the Sumerians laid the foundations of human civilization. They developed the cuneiform script, the world's first known writing system, around 3,200 BCE. They codified laws, created complex irrigation systems, built monumental architecture like the ziggurats, and engaged in advanced astronomical observations. Figures like Enheduanna, the first named author in history, and rulers like Gilgamesh, whose epic narrative predates Homer's works by over a millennium, illustrate the Sumerians' profound impact. Yet despite these achievements, their historical narratives, particularly those concerning human origins and interactions with beings they called the Anunnaki, are often overlooked by mainstream academia. Interestingly, their material innovations are lauded as foundational to civilization. This paradox is both puzzling and revealing. Archaeological discoveries from sites like Uruk, Eridu, and Nippur offer a wealth of information about Sumerian society. In 1922, Sir Leonard Woolley's excavation at unearthed the royal cemetery, revealing artifacts such as the standard of intricate jewelry and musical instruments, all of which demonstrate an advanced culture with social stratification, religious rituals, and international trade networks. Clay tablets recovered from these sites, now housed in museums such as the British Museum and the Louvre, contain detailed records of Sumerian beliefs. These texts describe interactions between humans and the Anunnaki, beings who, according to the Sumerians, descended from the heavens and played a pivotal role in shaping humanity. The Enuma Elish and the Epic of Gilgamesh speak of a pre-flood world where gods and humans interacted closely, a narrative strikingly similar to later biblical and Quranic accounts of a primordial age disrupted by divine judgment. Scholars like Zecharia Sitchin have argued that the Anunnaki references in Sumerian texts point to extraterrestrial beings who intervened in human evolution, possibly through genetic manipulation. More cautious researchers such as Dr. Samuel Noah Kramer, one of the most respected Archaeologists of the 20th century, acknowledged that the Sumerians themselves claimed to receive their knowledge from the gods. Kramer's analysis of texts such as the instructions of Shurupach and the Sumerian king list reveals patterns where kingship and societal order are described as descending from the heavens, a motif repeated across Sumerian literature. Yet, when these records discuss the origins of humanity or the roles of the Anunnaki, they are labeled as myth. Even though the same tablets also contain meticulously recorded commercial transactions, legal codes, and medical prescriptions, this selective acceptance, where Sumerian contributions to law, writing, and technology are celebrated, but their own explanations of human origins are dismissed, suggests an implicit bias in how we interpret ancient records. If we were to grant the Sumerians the same credibility for their narratives as we do for their innovations, our understanding of human history would shift dramatically. The traditional view of a linear progression from primitive hunter-gatherers to advanced civilizations would give way to a more complex picture. Recent genetic studies like those by Dr. Robert Shaw and Dr. David Reich have revealed complexities in human ancestry, suggesting admixture events and genetic diversity that do not entirely fit the conventional timeline of human evolution. These studies challenge the simplistic narrative of linear human development. Furthermore, discoveries like Gobsai in modern-day Turkey, dated to around 9600 BCE/CE, push back the timeline of advanced human activity by thousands of years, aligning more closely with Sumerian and other ancient accounts. So what did the Sumerians have to say about our past? The discovery of the Sumerian tablets. In 1840, the unearthing of the Sumerian tablets by British archaeologists, notably Austen Henry Leard and his team at the ancient city of Nineveh, marked a monumental turning point in the story of human knowledge. Though Nineveh is an Assyrian site, much of the material unearthed, including the famous ununiform tablets, ultimately traced back to Sumerian origins, specifically from sites like Nippur, Uruk, and Eridu, where the earliest layers of civilization had taken root. Among these were the 14 tablets dating back to approximately the 24th century BCE. Now regarded as the earliest known examples of human writing written in cuneiform script, the wedge-shaped markings etched into clay. These texts include cosmological accounts, genealogies of gods and kings, descriptions of the creation of humanity, and the earliest known flood narrative predating the biblical story of Noah by more than 1,000 years. The Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and the Atrahasis epic, among others, introduce us to a pantheon of gods, collectively known as the Anunnaki, supreme beings who intervene directly in the affairs of humanity. In these texts, there is mention of a father of all beginnings, an abstract, almost philosophical concept of a prime source of existence. Yet when it comes to the creation of humanity, the tablets speak of multiple gods acting in councils, deliberating, disagreeing, and even experimenting, rather than a singular all-powerful deity as found in the book of Genesis. The Sumerian creation story, as preserved in these tablets, presents a strikingly different image of Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden. In the Sumerian texts, the first humans, Adamu, meaning man, and Tiamat, or the mother of life, are created by the gods through a process that resembles genetic engineering more than divine fiat. The Anunnaki, led by the god Enki, shape humanity by combining the essence of a god, sometimes referred to as the blood of the gods, with clay from the earth. The Garden of Eden, or Eden, is not described as an ethereal paradise, but as an actual location, a lush, fertile plain in Mesopotamia, where the gods dwell and manage their agricultural projects with humanity, created to tend to the fields and relieve the gods of their labor. Interesting, right? Well, it gets more shocking. While mainstream scholars often dismiss the Anunnaki as mythological constructs, part of a symbolic framework to explain natural phenomena, the consistency of these accounts across different Sumerian and later Akkadian texts, as well as the specificity of the language used, such as the repeated phrase, "They who from the heavens came to earth," raises important questions. Archaeological evidence further supports the antiquity and significance of these tablets. Excavations at sites like Nippur by the University of Pennsylvania, under the direction of John Punnett Peters and John Henry Haynes between 1889 and 1900, uncovered vast libraries of cuneiform tablets including administrative records, hymns, and mythological texts. The famous Nippur tablet, dated to around 2100 BCE, contains the Sumerian king list, which records the reigns of antediluvian kings lasting thousands of years, a notion eerily echoed in Genesis 5, where the patriarchs are said to have lived for centuries. Other tablets describe detailed astronomical observations, such as the Venus tablet of Amisagica, which suggests a level of celestial knowledge far beyond what would be expected for an early Bronze Age society. Scholars like Samuel Noah Kramer, Thorkild Jacobsen, and Stephanie Deli have painstakingly translated and analyzed these texts, noting the remarkable continuity of themes that would later appear in the Hebrew Bible, the Greek myths, and even Hindu cosmology. Yet the theological implications of these early writings have often been downplayed. For instance, while Kramer acknowledged the parallels between Sumerian flood narratives and the story of Noah, he stopped short of endorsing the idea that the Anunnaki were real beings who influenced human history. Nevertheless, the linguistic and narrative connections are undeniable. The Hebrew word Elohim, often translated as God in the Old Testament, is a plural noun suggesting a collective rather than a singular entity, much like the Sumerian Anunnaki. Could it be that the monotheistic framework of later religious texts was a simplification of an earlier, more complex theological system? The suppression of these alternative narratives may not be accidental. The discovery of the Sumerian tablets came at a time when Western society, deeply influenced by the Bible and the emerging disciplines of archaeology and anthropology, was constructing a particular view of human history, one that emphasized linear progress, human exceptionalism, and a singular transcendent deity. So, what do we know about these supreme beings, the Anunnaki, and the story of humanity's origins? According to the Sumerian tablets, particularly the Enuma Elish and the Atrahasis epic, the Anunnaki were not mere deities in the mythological sense, but described as a group of powerful, technologically advanced beings who descended to Earth from a distant planet called Nibiru. Their arrival, traditionally dated to around 445,000 years ago, marks a pivotal juncture in the myth-historical timeline of humanity. The Sumerian term Anunnaki translates roughly to those who from heaven to earth came, and in the texts, they are depicted as a collective assembly of gods, led by figures such as Anu, the sky god and king of the Anunnaki Council, Enlil, the lord of the air, and Enki, the god of waters and wisdom, often portrayed as humanity's benefactor. According to the interpretations of Zecharia Sitchin, whose 1976 book, The 12th Planet, popularized the Nibiru theory, the Anunnaki's home planet is a distant member of our solar system, Nibiru, a massive iron oxide-rich world that enters the inner solar system approximately every 3,600 years on an elongated elliptical orbit. Sitchin's interpretation draws on the Sumerian descriptions of Nibiru as a wandering star that brings upheaval to the planets it approaches. Nibiru's atmosphere, according to Sumerian accounts, as interpreted by Sitchin, was failing due to environmental degradation, an issue eerily reminiscent of Earth's modern concerns about climate change and atmospheric damage. The Anunnaki's solution was to infuse their planet's atmosphere with gold particles, creating a reflective shield that could restore balance. This proposed use of gold aligns in intriguing ways with modern scientific and technological applications. Gold's unique reflective and conductive properties make it invaluable in space technology today, including its use in the James Webb Space Telescopes, mirrors, and spacecraft components. On top of this, archaeological findings lend circumstantial support to the idea that gold had an exceptional status in ancient Sumerian society. The royal tombs excavated in the 1920s by Leonard Woolley revealed an astonishing wealth of gold artifacts including crowns, jewelry, and ritual objects dating back to the 3rd millennium BCE. The meticulous craftsmanship and sheer quantity of gold suggest that it held a sacred or even extraterrestrial significance beyond mere adornment. Moreover, ancient Sumerian texts often refer to the gods' mining operations in the Abzu, a term associated with the underground and linked to Enki, implying a literal extraction of resources from the earth. The Atrahasis epic dating to the 17th century BCE explicitly describes how the Anunnaki, burdened by the toil of mining gold, revolted against their leaders. In response, Enki proposed creating a Lulu, a mixed being or prototype human to bear the labor in their stead. This act of creating humans, described as a combination of Anunnaki essence and earthly clay, prefigures the biblical Adam and resonates with modern theories of genetic manipulation. While mainstream scholars like Thoril Jacobsen have emphasized the symbolic and poetic aspects of these narratives, alternative researchers argue that the level of detail, references to blood of the gods, and repeated mentions of specific sites like Eridu and the Abzu suggests a memory of actual historical events, however distorted by time and cultural transmission. Modern astronomy has added fuel to the Nibiru hypothesis. In 2016, astronomers Konstantin Batigan and Michael E. Brown of Caltech published research suggesting the existence of a large unseen planet nicknamed Planet 9 in the outer reaches of our solar system. Their hypothesis was based on observed gravitational anomalies affecting the orbits of trans-Neptunian objects, which could be explained by the presence of a planet with a mass roughly 10 times that of Earth, orbiting at a distance of 400 to 800 astronomical units. While Planet 9 has yet to be directly observed, its theoretical existence bears a striking resemblance to the Nibiru described in Sumerian texts. The Anunnaki narrative also intersects provocatively with modern questions about human origins. The sudden emergence of Homo sapiens around 300,000 years ago, with advanced cognitive and social capacities, has puzzled paleoanthropologists. While the standard model attributes this to natural selection, the timing and abruptness of this great leap forward in human behavior have led some to wonder if external influences played a role. Could the Sumerian stories of the Anunnaki be a symbolic recollection of an ancient encounter that accelerated our species' development? In any case, let's proceed with the Anunnaki narrative, the Anunnaki settlements and slave labor system. According to ancient Sumerian tablets, particularly those excavated by Sir Leonard Woolley in the 1920s at the site of Ur in modern-day Iraq, and the interpretations of scholars like Zechariah Sitchin, the Anunnaki arrived on Earth around 445,000 years ago. Their mission, as preserved in texts like the Atreus and the Enuma Elish, was to extract precious resources, particularly gold, to restore the failing atmosphere of their home planet, Nibiru. To facilitate this monumental task, they established the first Earth-based settlement known as Eridog, translated as home in the far away, situated in the marshlands of the Persian Gulf. The Sumerians regarded Eridog, later referred to as Araridu, as the cradle of civilization. And according to the Sumerian king list, it was the first city founded by the gods themselves under the leadership of Enki, the god of wisdom and the waters. As the chief engineer of the Anunnaki's terrestrial operations, Enki presided over the establishment of Earth Station 1, Aridog, a hub for administration, mining, logistics, and coordination of operations in the Abzu, the region rich in mineral deposits, traditionally associated with southern Africa. The narrative goes that while the Anunnaki oversaw the grand design, they employed a subservient extraterrestrial workforce known as the Igigi. The Igi, often described in the texts as younger gods or divine servants, were tasked with the arduous labor of digging canals, mining, and maintaining infrastructure. Their toil was immense. The Atrahasis records how the Igi, burdened by relentless work, eventually rebelled against their Anunnaki overlords around 300,000 years ago. This insurrection, known as the Igi Revolt, culminated in a dramatic standoff in which the Igis set fire to their tools, encircled Enlil's home in Nippur, and demanded relief from their suffering. Faced with the loss of the labor force vital to Anunnaki's mission, Enki proposed the creation of a new being fashioned through genetic engineering that would serve as a replacement workforce. The Sumerian texts, particularly the Atrahasis, described this moment with a sense of awe and solemnity. The gods gathered in the Abzu, where Enki and the birth goddess Ninhurag, also called Mami, conducted a biological experiment. They took the essence interpreted by Sitchin as genetic material from an Anunnaki, mixed it with the clay of the earth, symbolizing Homo erectus, the indigenous hominins, and thus produced a hybrid, the Lulu Amalu, or mixed worker. This being, the Adamu, became the prototype for modern humans, and the term Adamu resonates strikingly with the Hebrew Adam. Archaeological evidence lends subtle but provocative support to these accounts. The discovery of the Aratus site dating back to the 6th millennium BCE reveals an advanced city plan, sophisticated irrigation systems, and signs of organized labor long before the supposed invention of writing in 3200 BCE. The site's ziggurat, believed to have been dedicated to Enki, bears witness to the reverence in which the Sumerians held their gods and the centrality of Eridu in their mythos. Moreover, genetic studies such as those conducted on the mitochondrial Eve hypothesis have pinpointed a sudden and relatively recent bottleneck in human ancestry, suggesting a singular event that reshaped the human genome. The linguistic clues embedded in ancient languages further reinforce this interpretation. The Sumerian word for worship, avod, literally means to work for. This suggests that humanity's original relationship with the gods was not merely one of reverence but of service. The Sumerians saw themselves as the laborers of the gods, and their rituals, offerings, and temple economies were structured around this dynamic. The temple complexes of Uruk, and Eridu were not merely religious centers but administrative hubs where goods were collected, stored, and redistributed. However, expert opinions on these interpretations remain divided. Mainstream scholars such as Samuel Noah Kramer and Thoril Jacobson emphasized the symbolic and mythopoetic nature of Sumerian texts, viewing the Anunnaki stories as metaphors for natural forces and social hierarchies. In contrast, researchers like Sitchin, Michael Tellinger, and more recently Maro Beglin argue that the level of detail, such as the use of specific names, geographic locations, and references to tools and materials, suggests a record of actual events, albeit couched in the mythological language of the time. So, could it be that the ancient Sumerians in their intricate poetic texts preserved a fragmented account of a forgotten epoch? Well, in time we'll be able to answer this conclusively. But wait, we're not done with the story of the Anunnaki, the interbreeding, and the Nephilim. According to ancient Mesopotamian texts like the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Book of Giants, the merging of the Anunnaki and human bloodlines began after the creation of early Homo sapiens as a labor force. When the Anunnaki, particularly those of high rank, began taking human women as mates, the resulting offspring, known as the Nephilim, or giants of old, were born from a mixture of celestial and earthly genetics. This practice, however, was not universally accepted among the Anunnaki elite. Enlil, the chief god of the Anunnaki pantheon, was deeply concerned about the consequences of Anunnaki human interbreeding. While Enki, the god of wisdom and the architect behind humanity's creation, had advocated for the hybridization that produced Homo sapiens as a labor force, Enlil saw the unions that resulted in the Nephilim as a dangerous deviation. The Nephilim, described in Genesis as mighty men who were of old, men of renown, symbolized a burgeoning power that could threaten the established cosmic order and, more importantly, the survival of Nibiru, the Anunnaki's home planet. The timing of these events, as pieced together from various Sumerian tablets and biblical narratives, aligns with a period of significant population growth and social complexity in early Mesopotamia, roughly between 3000 and 2000 BCE. Archaeological excavations in sites such as Uruk and Nippur reveal evidence of expanding urban centers, monumental architecture, and increased social stratification during this era. These shifts correspond with the legendary accounts of a banishment from paradise, which many scholars and comparative mythologists interpret as allegorical reflections of real socio-environmental changes, such as deforestation, overpopulation, and the degradation of earlier idyllic landscapes. The children of the Anunnaki and humans were called Nephilim. The root word for this term comes from the Hebrew language and means to fall. Some interpret it as fallen ones or those who cause others to fall. This duality captures their ambiguous status, part divine, part mortal. The Sumerian king list, an ancient document chronicling the reigns of early kings, mentions rulers with lifespans far exceeding modern human limits, which some experts speculate may reflect the memory of these hybrid giants. For instance, the antediluvian king Ululim, said to have ruled Iradu for 28,800 years, is often cited as symbolic of the Nephilim's epoch. The discovery of Sumerian and Akkadian tablets in the mid-9th and early 20th centuries at sites like Tel El-Mukayar and Nippur has unveiled fragments of epics such as Enuma Elish and Atrahasis, which reveal a cosmic struggle between Enlil and Enki over humanity's place in the universe. Enlil, opposed to the Nephilim and the hybridization between the Anunnaki and humans, viewed these unions as a threat to the balance of power and sought to prevent humans from becoming too powerful or independent, an anxiety that may have driven the decision to unleash the Great Flood as a drastic reset, curbing human proliferation and restoring Anunnaki control. This narrative of divine intervention aligns with archaeological discoveries such as those by Leonard Woolley and Max Mallowan of catastrophic flooding and abrupt cultural shifts in Mesopotamia around 2900 BCE. The story of the Great Flood. According to Sumerian lore and its later reinterpretations, Nibiru is a massive celestial body with a highly elliptical orbit that brings it close to the inner solar system approximately every 3,600 years. This periodic passage is believed to cause a cascade of cosmic disturbances, ranging from solar instability and gravitational anomalies to drastic shifts in Earth's geology and climate. This link between Nibiru and cataclysmic events is most famously encapsulated in the story of the Great Flood, also known as the Deluge, which is documented across various ancient cultures from the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh to the biblical book of Genesis. The flood narrative, dated by scholars such as Leonard Woolley and Sir Max Mallowan to around 2900 BCE, corresponds to a period when archaeological layers show evidence of widespread flooding and rapid cultural disruption in the ancient Near East. Ancient warnings of the flood are vividly described in Sumerian and later Akkadian texts, where astronomical observations record solar anomalies such as increased sunspots, solar flares, and erratic magnetic behavior. These changes, thought to precede Nibiru's arrival, caused the Earth's magnetic field to weaken, leading to rising global temperatures and the melting of polar ice caps. Geological evidence supports these claims. Ice core samples from Greenland and Antarctica show abrupt climate fluctuations and spikes in atmospheric dust and radiation dating to roughly the same era. These environmental changes would have triggered sea level rise and catastrophic flooding, providing a natural explanation for the flood myths. Enlil, one of the chief Anunnaki deities, decided to unleash the flood as a method of population control. His idea was to wipe out the corrupt and rebellious humans. According to the Sumerian Atrahasis epic, Enlil was frustrated by the noise and defiance of mankind and sought to silence it through the flood. However, other Anunnaki, including Enki, sympathized with humans and warned the hero Atrahasis, paralleling the biblical Noah to build a boat. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Modern scientific investigations have attempted to correlate these ancient descriptions with measurable phenomena. For example, the idea of polar shifts, where the Earth's magnetic or even physical poles undergo sudden changes, finds some support in paleomagnetic studies. These studies reveal episodes of geomagnetic reversals and excursions, where the magnetic poles deviate significantly or temporarily flip. One such event, the Lashem excursion around 41,000 years ago, though earlier than the Nibiru cycle, demonstrates that Earth's magnetic field is not static and can undergo rapid changes with severe climatic and biological consequences. Solar instability linked to Nibiru's approach also finds resonance in modern solar physics. Researchers have observed cycles of solar maxima and minima with increased sunspot activity, solar flares, and coronal mass ejections capable of impacting Earth's magnetosphere and climate. Ancient astronomers such as those in Babylon and later in classical Greece meticulously recorded these phenomena. The catastrophic implications of solar storms, including disruptions of electrical grids and increased radiation exposure, offer a modern analog to the ancient fears surrounding Nibiru's arrival. The flood's aftermath also significantly shaped human culture and mythology. The rebuilding of civilization post-cataclysm involved new social orders, religious practices, and architectural innovations. For instance, the rise of ziggurats in Mesopotamia symbolized human attempts to reconnect with the divine and regain favor after the flood's devastation. These monumental structures were dedicated to appeasing the gods, ensuring their continued protection. This period also saw the codification of laws and administrative systems such as the Code of Ornamu, which aimed to restore order and justice after the social upheaval caused by the flood. In any case, the Great Flood can be seen as more than a simple story of divine wrath. Ancient warnings of solar anomalies, magnetic shifts, and melting ice caps find echoes in modern scientific discoveries. While the Anunnaki's actions reflect ancient concerns about balance, control, and survival, the enduring power of these stories invites us to reconsider humanity's place in a universe shaped by forces both seen and unseen. The impact on human history. The Sumerian accounts of human origins present a strikingly different narrative from mainstream history and religious traditions. One that challenges fundamental assumptions about humanity's beginnings, development, and relationship with the divine. This worldview not only reframes humanity's place in the cosmic order, but also challenges the conventional scientific narrative that humans arose solely through natural selection and random mutation over millions of years. Mainstream anthropology and evolutionary biology present a gradualist model supported by fossil evidence such as the discovery of Australopithecus afarensis, or Lucy, dated around 3.2 million years ago, and the subsequent evolution of Homo habilis and Homo erectus. Yet the Sumerian texts propose a sudden leap in complexity and intelligence, coinciding with the intervention of the Anunnaki. Archaeological discoveries such as advanced metallurgical techniques and early urban planning in Sumerian cities like Uruk and Eridu, dated around 3500 BCE, suggest the transmission of knowledge beyond what would be expected from purely indigenous development. These technological advancements encompass irrigation systems, the wheel, writing, and sophisticated governance structures, all attributed by the Sumerians to the tutelage of their gods. The Sumerian tablets further complicate traditional religious narratives. Instead of a singular, all-powerful god, the texts describe a pantheon of gods with human-like characteristics, motivations, and conflicts. The creators of humanity were multiple polytheistic beings who engaged in genetic experiments and political power struggles. This polytheism contrasts sharply with the monotheistic traditions that dominate Abrahamic religions. Expert opinions on these matters are deeply divided. Renowned Assyrianologist Samuel Noah Kramer, who helped pioneer the translation of Sumerian texts in the 20th century, described them as some of the most important historical documents ever found. Kramer, however, stopped short of endorsing extraterrestrial interpretations, viewing the gods as mythological figures rather than literal visitors. In contrast, Zecharia Sitchin, an author and researcher who popularized the Anunnaki narrative in books such as The 12th Planet, published in 1976, argued extensively for a literal interpretation of these beings as ancient astronauts who genetically engineered humanity. Sitchin's work has inspired a significant cultural and academic discussion about ancient knowledge and its possible implications. Archaeological evidence provides some intriguing though circumstantial support for the possibility of advanced knowledge and external influences in early human history. The precision with which Sumerians constructed their ziggurats, temples, and irrigation canals demonstrates sophisticated engineering that required advanced mathematics and astronomy. The Sumerian invention of cuneiform writing, one of the world's earliest scripts, enabled detailed record-keeping and complex administration. This intellectual leap, alongside artifacts like the Standard of Ur and early cylinder seals, points to a civilization that valued order, technology, and knowledge. Qualities that could, if the Sumerian narrative is accurate, be remnants of Anunnaki guidance. Moreover, modern genetics occasionally provides tantalizing clues in support of hybridization theories. The discovery of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA in modern human genomes suggests that interbreeding between hominid species occurred. Although the Anunnaki hypothesis extends this idea beyond known species to extraterrestrial intervention, while mainstream science maintains that these interbreeding events were natural and evolutionary, the suggestion of genetic engineering raises questions about the origins of human consciousness, intelligence, and societal complexity. Whatever the truth, and whenever it is revealed, this is something to think about. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.